Welcome again, Wildcats. So today we're looking at Friday, December 2nd, and we're going to go from standard form to vertex form. And that's going to be on page 38. So if you would, pause your video and update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents is updated. Let's look at our notes. All right, so the steps to transform from standard form to vertex form. Step 1. Factor so the coefficient of x squared is 1. Now, if the coefficient of x squared is 1, then you skip step 1. Step 2. Set up to complete the square. Step 3. Add b divided by 2 squared. Now, because b divided by 2 squared is multiplied by the a value, you must subtract a times b divided by 2 squared. Now, I know that's step 3 is kind of trippy, but don't worry, when we go over the example, that step will make a lot more sense. And then you're going to factor and then simplify. All right, so if you would, update your notes. All right, and let's look at our examples. All right, and I'm going to explain example 1 and example 3 in the video. All right, so step 1. Factor so the coefficient of x squared is 1. Well, the coefficient of x squared is 1, so you skip step 1. Step 2, set up to complete the square. So to set up to complete the square, you get y equals x squared plus 24x plus the b value, which is 24, divided by 2 squared, and then plus 145. And I'm actually going to factor out the a value from, which is 1. Okay, and I'll explain why I did that here by the end of the problem. All right, so now oh wait, I almost forgot. We added 24 divided by 2 squared here. You can't just add something to an equation. Okay, so because you added it, you have to subtract it. And this is where math is kind of magical. Like watch, sleight of hand. Now you see it, now you don't. 24 divided by 2 squared, when you add it here, subtract it here, technically they become 0. So really, we haven't added anything to the equation. Okay, and that's where it's kind of magically cool in math, you can do that. Okay, we've manipulated it, but we haven't really added anything. Okay, so then now we're going to factor. But before we factor, let's go ahead and find out what 24 divided by 2 squared is. So that's 1 x squared plus 24x. And then 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 squared is 144 plus 145. And really, I should have multiplied by 1. If I have to multiply this by 1, so I have to multiply this by 1. So that's minus 1 times 12. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 squared is 144. Now, what I want you to see, again, kind of magical. If I added here, subtracted here, technically I haven't added anything because technically this becomes 0. Okay? But we've manipulated so we can do this. Now, when we factor this, because we did this part, you already know the term. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So the factors are x plus 12 and x plus 12. If you don't believe me, 12 times 12 is 144. 12 plus 12 is 24. Plus, then 145 minus 144 is 1. So we've kind of factored and simplified all at once. And then we know that anything times itself is squared, so you get y equals 1 x plus 12 squared plus 1. Now, if you excuse me, my son has karate at 6:30 and my wife has to work at 6:20. So it's 5:32 right now. I need to make a phone call to make sure I'm going to meet my wife at work, or we're going to go home. We're going to find out what's on, because I got to make sure my son gets to karate and my wife gets to work. Otherwise, Mr. Luke will not be here tomorrow. So I'll be right back. This is me calling my wife to make sure that I know what in the world is going on. Ringing. It's ringing. Yes. Hello? Hello. This is my daughter answered the phone. Hey, so do you think I could meet you at karate or meet you at work, or do you think? Okay, good. So I'll meet you at. Okay, awesome. All right, love you. All right, I'm meeting. This is how complicated my life is. All right, so I'm gonna meet my wife at karate, and then she's gonna take one of the cars, and then she's gonna go to work. And hopefully this will all work. That he'll be at karate at 6:30, and she'll be at work at 6:20. All right, so that's all worked out. That hopefully gave you a little mental break of sorts, because I know this problem probably just gave you like mental explosion. Like, what in the world, Mr. Luke, are you doing? Okay. Now, if your mind wasn't blown on example one, let me completely. I'll blow your mind on example 3. Okay. All right. So, step 1: factor so the coefficient of x squared is 1. Well, in this case, and I'm picking this on purpose, the coefficient is not 1, so we need to factor it. So we have h of x equals. So I'm actually only going to factor out from these two terms. So that's, if I factor out 2, I'm left with x squared minus 4x. I'm going to leave space for the complete the square part. And then I'm just going to put the plus 3 on the outside. And now if I add something here, I have to subtract. Because I'm multiplying this by 2, I actually have to subtract it from 2 times that. Okay? So now let's complete the square. So we take now in this case, the b value now is -4. So we take -4 divided by 2 squared. But now if I add it here, I have to subtract it here. So that's -4 divided by 2 squared. Now I know y'all are probably like what's going on? But I actually think it's kind of cool, because really we've added something that doesn't exist, because technically this becomes 0. So it's kind of cool in that aspect. All right, so then before we factor, let's just go and kind of simplify a little bit. So that's x squared minus 4x. -4 divided by 2 is -2. -2 squared is plus 4. And then plus 3 minus 2 times -4 divided by 2 is -2 squared is 4. Now again, what's cool is 2 times 4 is 8. -2 times 4 is -8. So technically these cancel. So we're manipulating the equation, but these actually cancel each other. Okay. So then now let's factor. So h of x equals 2. And that is, now we already know this factor because we knew that -4 divided by 2 is -2. So this is x minus 2 and x minus 2. And if you do this correctly, this number divided by 2 will be your factors. Okay. And then now 3 minus 8 is a minus 5. All right. And then we know that this times this is squared. So then h of x equals 2 parentheses x minus 2 squared minus 5. And this is now in vertex form. Now, I forgot something in example 1. I won't forget example 3, and then we'll go back into example 1. But it says to identify the vertex. Okay? So let's go back and identify the vertex for each. Now, remember, vertex form is y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. So the vertex for example 1 is, let's see, now this is actually minus h, so technically this is a negative 12, and then plus k, so plus 1. So your vertex is negative 12, 1. All right, and let's look at example 3. All right, so then the vertex, remember this is minus h plus k, so your vertex is, let's see, 2, comma, negative 5. Ta-da! All right, so now that your mind went just blown, be ready for Friday. And again, if you got stressed out a little bit on that, don't worry. I can go back over and re-explain them. We can ask some questions. Or if you got it and the mind wasn't blown, you were like, the light bulb went on, then we can start on example 2 and 4. Okay. So with that, as always, have a terrific globe-trotting Wildcat day.